What's going on, everybody? It's that time again. The AllSooners Podcast, episode 125 on this wonderful Wednesday, May 25th, 2022. Last show of May already, if you can believe that. We move into June by the time next week's pod comes around. We're moving right along. Going to be season. You can feel it before we know it. Let me do it. I've been bad about it. I said I would do the countdown a couple weeks ago on the show, and I've been lazy about it. 101 days from right now, Oklahoma UTEP at the stadium, September 3rd. So buckle up. How are you guys doing? Josh Callaway in Fort Worth, again, 2 weeks in a row, getting ready for a Big 12 tournament starting tonight for baseball. Ryan's in Norman. Ryan Chapman, John Hoover in Tulsa. How are we doing, guys? We're making it through.
We're making it through, man. It is rain apocalypse like day 5, is it? Just enough with the rain already.
Nonstop.
Yeah, it just refuses to stop. I drove through it last night to Wichita and back, 2.5, almost 3 hours of just rain. Ready for the rain to stop. Ready for I mean, the building of the ark has slowed because the price of lumber is so high, but I did my part. I did what I could. It's bad, man.
Yeah, Scout the dog has enjoyed it. She likes the rainy days, but let me tell you, that 7 a.m. wake-up alarm, when I roll over and hear the rain just like hammering my window air conditioner, I'm like, I don't think I'll be going to the gym today. Nope. Hit that snooze. Now I'm just panicked because, Josh, you mentioned June. I'm just now realizing that the Women's College World Series is next week, which means that I no longer have a life.
Yeah, no, the rain makes it so much harder to get out of bed in the morning, at least for me. I mean, it just exudes sleepy, lazy vibes, and this is not a time for that. This is arguably, I was thinking about it last night, guys. This is arguably our busiest week, maybe of the year, which is crazy to say. But I mean, Wichita Caravan last night, Dallas or OKC Caravan tomorrow. I'm in Texas for the Big 12 baseball tournament, and then softball super regionals. I don't know if we have as much in one week, in any week of the year, as this week. This is pretty crazy. This is a lot at one time here.
Just let's talk about next week. I got Big 12 spring meetings. You got Big 12 NCAA baseball. Ryan's got Women's College World Series. The Caravan, thankfully, will be finished.
It's over.
But June begins the big recruiting season. So, man, yeah, when we get a break, we don't get a break.
No, not a thing. Not a thing at all. So looking forward to that. The rain, at least making matters worse, would be massive rain delays this week. But thankfully, Big 12 tournament is now indoors.
Yeah.
So that will not be an issue. I don't know if you guys have seen, but the SEC baseball tournament is just getting wrecked with rain. Like, I don't even know what they're going to do. Like, they're shifting the whole format of the tournament because they're just like, we're not going to be able to play all the games because the rain is wreaking havoc. So the move to Globe Life Field came at a good time because it's been rainy and gross. I'm sure you guys saw the Warriors-Mavs game last night had a delay because there was rain leaking through the ceiling because it's pouring down here too, just as much as it is Oklahoma. So caught a break there for sure. So busy times, fun times. Looking forward to Oklahoma opening up the Big 12 tournament tonight, Super Regionals this weekend. We'll talk about all that later on in the show, but we do want to start with Caravan. So some Caravan recap, cleanup here. Last week's show, obviously, I was just getting ready to go to the Dallas Caravan last Thursday. Who was in Wichita last night? We can start there, I think, because who of you wrote the story last night? It's there on AllSooners.com. I recommend everybody go check it out. What Joe Castiglione and Brent Venables had to say about this insane landscape of NIL that we're in right now. And I feel like that ties in really nicely to the Nick Saban, Jimbo Fisher, which we didn't get the chance to talk about last week. It figures because last week, and we'll talk about more on the show as we go on, like a zillion things happened last Wednesday after we finished recording. So there's a lot of stuff we didn't get to talk about, so we're going to backtrack a little. But it's insane times right now. Who, why don't you talk a little bit about what Brent and Josie had to say last night? Because I don't think anybody knows where college football is headed right now.
Yeah, it's true. It's so I'll just set it up for you. The Wichita Caravan was really cool. It was in an airplane hangar. It's called the B-29 Dock Hangar, and you wonder what that means. Well, there's an airplane like a World War II B-29 aircraft with the Seven Dwarves dock painted on the side. You know how they used to paint like sharks or pretty women or whatever on the side of their airplane. Well, somebody painted Doc on the side of this airplane. So this airplane is now called Doc, is being stored in Wichita at the airport. So you walk in and it's this airplane hangar, right? And they've got airplanes over here and airplanes over there and historical museum over there. It's really cool. But Toby got up there. Toby Rowland gets up. He MCs the deal. Toby's in Dallas today because baseball, right? So he was in Wichita last night. Guys constantly working.
Everywhere.
He gets up and he introduces Jenny Baranchik and he introduces Porter Moser, and they all talk about their teams. And the running joke now has become something. How do you incite the crowd when there's a lull in the crowd or the energy kind of drains a little bit? What do you do? How about that Patty Gasso? And everybody goes, yeah, Patty Gasso. Gets everybody fired up. So that was a running joke. They did that about 15 times last night. But then he asked Joe Castiglione to come up, and Joe comes up, and the format of these things is pretty tame for the most part. They have a little fun, but there's no like hard hitting questions. Is there? And then last night, Toby asks Joe Castiglione about NIL. Joe was ready. Joe said the future of college athletics is bright. He's very optimistic about it, but he said it's going to be ugly, and there's going to be some rough road ahead. It's like, to hear Joe Castiglione characterize it like that tells you kind of where this thing has been. And it was framed, the whole question to Brent Venables anyway, was framed around, I'm not going to ask you about Jimbo and Nick Saban, and Brent Venables' reaction was, man, I'm got my popcorn ready for that one. He was loving it. He ate that moment up. So they both talked about the maybe a cautionary tale, if you will, about what's coming down the pike. It's probably going to get worse before it gets better. We talked about the collective, the One Oklahoma collective here at OU, right? That's doing right apparently by the student athletes. Well, it's possible that these collectives might go away before they even get started. But the NCAA isn't moving very fast on it. They're trying to gather as much information as they can. It's a tangled mess right now, and it's all kind of brown and goopy and bubbly and gross, and nobody knows what to make of it. And to hear Joe Castiglione come out and say it's going to be a bumpy road before we get this thing ironed out, and he put it on the leaders of college football and college athletics to get it ironed out and to be able to adapt to the times. Because as the times change and the rules change and new collectives come up and other things sprout up around, possibilities. And hey, let's test the envelope and push the envelope over here and test the boundaries over there. There's the rules, whatever rules there are, and they're minimal right now. They're all going to be very well tested, very highly tested. So, but he's, long term, he's optimistic, and he put it on the leaders of college athletics to make this happen and adapt to the changing times. It was a kind of a revealing moment for, something as simple as the Sooner Caravan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, absent from all this, though, is any actual suggestions or changes. Hey, Jimbo, Nick, leaders of college football, you're those guys. Joe, Brent, leaders of college football. Like, I'm waiting for, what needs to happen is at these conference media days that are coming up, we've heard every coach say, right, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know any of this stuff. Okay, cool. Let's get some lawyers and all these coaches in the room and just be like, okay, what are the problems you guys are having? And then what are some fixes? And they can come back and in a couple months be like, okay, here's some ideas we have. Let's throw that at you. Do you think this would help? So you can go forward it to the NCAA. I'm kind of over the we have problems and we'll get through it. Hey, guys, you are the leaders of college football, and I'm hearing nothing but I'm not a lawyer. We need the other leaders of college football to do it. So this is not an OU thing. This is not an Alabama thing, an A&M thing. Like, no one across the country, not a single coach has picked up the banner and said, we need this rule and this rule and this rule. And I don't know if that's a conference thing to get all those guys together. So you'd be like, hey, this is not this person's doing this or that. Like, what are the problems you're having and how can we fix this? Because the NCAA is not going to do anything. They're just going to sit and go, we're going to release, here's basic guidance, and we're not even going to enforce it because their enforcement office is a joke. We know this.
We don't want to mischaracterize what Joe Castiglione said, so I'm going to quote him verbatim. He said, it's not going to be pretty for a while. It's a very bumpy period of time. We know there are some rough times ahead, but college athletics is still one of the greatest entities that's ever been invented. That's a direct quote from Joe Castiglione. It will survive. It will not just survive, it will thrive.
Yeah, it'll survive. It's messy right now. Like Ryan said, nobody really has any suggestions for what to do or how to fix it. And boy, I mean, what a time to be going into the SEC for Oklahoma and Texas, obviously. But I mean, you're talking about the SEC has always held this very united front of just being the best and kind of just, they're just kind of always together on all these kind of things. And you see that starting to slip away and crumble a little, because if you didn't see it, I don't know how you didn't if you're following college football, but Nick Saban and Jimbo Fisher just aired all the dirty laundry out. Nick Saban flat out saying that A&M is buying players using NIL to do it. It's crazy. And Jimbo Fisher didn't really deny it. He basically was like, we're not breaking any rules, but it's mayhem. There's mudslinging, and it's a wild time. I'm excited to see Brent Venables get in there. And you told us just the other day that you're planning to go to SEC Media Days. It's going to be a circus. I don't know if the schedule's already out, but if Bama and A&M aren't the same day, that's a swing and a miss by Sankey. They got to be back to back, because that's going to be chaos out there.
Actually, the schedules are out. I'll see if I can find it for you real quick.
Is it Atlanta?
It's in downtown Atlanta at the College Football Hall of Fame. Nick Saban goes on Tuesday, and Jimbo Fisher goes last on Thursday. So
this couldn't be more separated, practically.
Right, really. Pretty much, yeah.
Swinging.
That'll be good. That'll be, they got spring business meetings down in Destin, Florida this next week. So while the Big 12 is doing theirs in Las Colinas, and I'll be there for that. The SEC is doing theirs down on the beach. Can you imagine being a fly on the wall for that one? We were talking about that today on my show. They walk in and it's going to be all highbrow and congenial, and everybody's going to be smiling. But at some point, somebody's going to say something, and pretty soon Saban and Jimbo are going to be poking each other in the chest, and then it's going to throw down, and then Lane Kiffin's going to pull out his phone and start videoing a live stream of the carnage that's going to ensue, man. I can't even picture how cool that would be.
Yeah,
come on, Kiffin.
Lane Kiffin throwing gasoline on the fire constantly.
But shout out to the SEC for doing the right thing, putting A&M very last on the last day. That way, anonymous sources have all the time in the world to air any dirty laundry of stories they don't like, because they're pretty good at that.
It's going to be a heck of a week out there, and that's right after Big 12 Media Day, just a few days after. So who will be there? I'm just going to ask every single coach about Oklahoma. What do you think about Oklahoma? Every single one. That's Hoop's plan.
Because you think about it, Big 12 Media Days last year, SEC Media Days, everything.
We didn't know yet. Yeah.
We didn't know. Bob Bowlesby's like, everything's fine. I'm not worried about realignment. And then a week later, OU and Texas are leaving. So we haven't had a chance yet to kind of fully digest this in a setting like the Big 12 Media Days or SEC Media Days. So, that's going to be, hey, Coach, what was your reaction last year when Oklahoma and Texas went into the SEC? So I can't wait. Can't wait to get there.
Yeah, really interested to hear all of them. I mean, there's a lot of notable names and voices in the SEC. Obviously, Saban's the big one, but there's a lot more after that. So definitely going to be interesting week there in Atlanta for who. As far as Dallas Caravan last week, it was hot. I didn't know it was going to be outside. I wasn't prepared for that. The other caravans have all been indoors, and I got there last week. I was wearing pants, and it was like 90, and I wasn't ready. I sweat a little, but it was okay. It ended up working out fine. Nothing groundbreaking from it. It was pretty textbook. Brent Venables had a few kind of buzz statements in there. He said he essentially guaranteed a national title. He said it won't be 22 more years till we win that next one. I promise you that. That got OU fans kind of fired up. He said the hate is real when it comes to Texas, which was interesting. And then Joe Castiglione hopped up there, and he gave a little just minuscule preview of the 2023 season when he said that for the 100th anniversary of Owen Field that they have lots of celebrations planned or something like that. So got a few little breadcrumbs there from Dallas Caravan. Was there anything you guys, obviously I was the only one there, but is there anything you guys wanted to touch on before we moved on to some other stuff?
No, I've got another story coming from last night. Got another story coming this afternoon on something Venables said. So I just tease it at that. AllSooners.com
Sure.
if you want to know more. How about that?
Yeah, and then look, I'm excited personally for the Owen Field stuff you kind of mentioned there, because Oklahoma does one thing better than probably anyone else in the country, and that's understanding the history, understanding the megaphone that this program is, and being able to honor it in a way that's not like, I don't know if overly pompous is the right word, but like it you can tell it means a lot to Oklahoma and college football. It's not overdone. It's not underdone. It's a fastball every time, and they knock that out of the park. Josie is excellent at putting that kind of stuff together.
Yeah, you could tell he was excited about it. And like I said, he didn't really say much. He just kind of hinted, but he had kind of a glimmer in his eye, if you will, when he was kind of talking about it. You could tell he's excited. And so that's not till next year, obviously 2023, but it's something for Oklahoma fans to kind of look forward to a little bit in the future, what'll be year 2 of Brent Venables and all that good stuff in 23. I'm not sure who the big non-conference game is that year. I'd have to look. I already forgot. I have to look ahead.
Yeah, I've forgotten too. Is it Tennessee again?
Might be.
I think so. So that's the thing, when you're as big a program as Oklahoma and successful for as long as you have, literally every year you can celebrate a centennial of something.
Yeah.
Something happened. Something important happened 100 years ago in OU football. You just got to look it up.
Boys, it's not Tennessee.
Is it not?
Arkansas State Red Wolves, Georgia Bulldogs, Tulsa Golden Hurricane, and that Tulsa game's on the road.
Is Georgia's in Norman?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I feel like that should be getting more buzz. I forgot that was that soon. Man, wow.
Coming up.
Question is that not going to be a conference game in 2023? Tinfoil hat?
Not probably in 23, but the bad part is they return the trip in like 28, I think.
I think it's like
it's 30 years down the road. Is it that far? 33?
Hold on.
10 years later?
So it wouldn't happen. I mean, you'd wash it away. And
that's the one SEC stadium that I was covering the SEC for 2 years that I didn't get to go to.
Apologies.
Wanted badly to go to. Can't make it.
Alabama's in 33.
Okay, so when's the Georgia game? At Georgia.
I mean, it's a moot point because it's going to get taken off anyway.
31.
It's going to get taken off anyway, because once they go to the SEC, they're going to replace all these games.
They'll definitely be in the SEC by 31.
Yeah, I would hope. I would hope so.
Despite Bob Bowlesby's best machinations.
How about them playing at Tulsa? It's always funny when they go to Chapman. That'll be right. That's dream for Hoove. I mean, it's like, that's amazing for you.
A home game for me, man. I don't have to drive, spend 4 hours in the car and fight traffic to get to that one.
Yeah, I mean, also they've been to Tulsa before, but it's not, it's few and far between. How many times total? Just a handful. I would think so. That'd be cool.
Always a good payday for TU.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a
little bit.
That's a cool thing for Tulsa to get to have OU in there.
That stadium used to be 43,000. They've reduced it. They cut one of the end zones out and reduced it, tightened everything up, and now it's 30,000. So,
will there be more fans at the Owasso-Bixby game that opens up this high school football season at the Tulsa at Chapman than any Tulsa football game? That's really the big question.
Yes,
that's going to be a steam.
Yes.
Owasso-Bixby just announced that new rivalry they're going to play there every year. I think that's
sponsored by
cool.
QT.
Right. Quick Trip, always know what they're doing, just on top of it.
QT steps up
in the 918. Absolutely, that's going to be really cool. But I need to place a bet with our good buddy TJ Eckert on that one, Bixby versus Owasso. So looking ahead to some other stuff here, we have a lot of portal and recruiting updates to kind of sift through. We'll do most of that in the second segment. Before we flip over, I felt like we would hit the big one. What you got?
I want to throw out a quick note from the Caravan last night. I was sitting there.
Sure.
Joey Helmer from 24/7 Sports and I were sitting at the front table because we got there early enough we staked out these positions and got the great camera shots and all that. So we're sitting up there working, and guys, I'm not kidding. I want you to take note of this, and I want you to pat yourselves on the back. About a half a dozen people came up to me last night and said either, I love your podcast, I listen to your podcast, your YouTube channel rocks, thank you for posting all that stuff, You guys do a great job on the podcast. Your podcast is very professional. It's the most professional OU podcast out there, a guy told me. I'm like, so all you listeners who are listening, who came up and gave me a shout out last night, I'm giving you a shout out. Thank you for that. You don't know how much it means. We appreciate it. This is one of those things that, it's not a big money maker. It's not but it's a big time consumer, and we do it because the audience is there for it. You guys love it. You guys appreciate it. So I just wanted to tell you, we appreciate you. So thank you for listening. And anytime y'all see me out there in the public, come up and say hello.
Cosign.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. Yeah, cosign, like Ryan said. That's great to hear. Yeah, like you said, the podcast is kind of our we don't have to do it, obviously, but we like to, and it's a good chance. And obviously, a lot of OU fans have responded to it, so we continue to make it work. We fit in. You guys are on radio for multiple hours a day, and we cram this in, and we make it work. We stay at the stadium way after games to record the post. So we bend our lives around to make it work. So it's good to hear that people appreciate it and they like it.
Yeah.
So
you wonder it sometimes you wonder, are people listening? Is there, we see the download numbers and we see the view numbers and all that stuff. But when someone comes up and tells you, hey, I heard you on the podcast. I love your podcast. I really enjoy your podcast. When you get that human interaction and they're looking you right in the face and shaking your hand, that's when it's really cool. So appreciate all you guys.
100%. So shifting back to, like I was saying, so a lot of transfer portal recruiting stuff to kind of sift through. We'll do that mostly in the next segment, but I did want to touch on, I think, the biggest one of the last week. And again, this is one of those things that came down Wednesday after we finished recording last week. We've had kind of bad luck with that. So watch out for there to be just a flurry of news later today. The last several Wednesdays have been like that. It's crazy. But so for last Wednesday, Arizona State transfer wide receiver LV Bunkley Shelton. Great name. I love LV. That's sweet. So he comes in from Arizona State, 2 seasons with the Sun Devils. Last year as a redshirt freshman. So he's very young. He's got multiple years of eligibility still left. Last year as a redshirt freshman, 33 catches, 418 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's listed at 5'11" on Sports Reference. I'm not sure if that's what Arizona State had him as, but that's what they have him. A nice addition here to me. I mean, you pair him with J.J. Hester from Missouri. You lost 2 receivers in the portal, Mario Williams, Cody Jackson. You got 2 in the portal. So I think this is pretty good. I mean, your top 3 is solidified, I feel like, with Theo Weiss, Marvin Mims, Drake Stoops. But with Hester and Bunkley Shelton, you're doing a good job, I think, kind of supplementing that depth. What do you guys think?
I'm curious how many receivers they're going to play in this Jeff Lebby offense, because they're going to go a lot of 11 personnel. I think we've established that he likes a running back in the backfield. He likes a tight end moving around like the H-back position. So that means a lot of 3 wide receiver sets. Are they going to go with 3 wide receivers and then 3 backups? Are they going to go with just guys running in and out? They're going to shuttle stuff from the sideline. How's that going to work? So if they go with 3 and 3, it's Mims, Weiss, and Stoops, right? That's your front line. But then Jalil Farouk probably has earned that second nod in that group. What about Brian Darby and Trayvon West? We've seen both those guys over the past few years make big plays. Last year, especially, I think the Kansas game, was it the Western Carolina game? I can't remember. But those 2 guys were out there on the field making plays. Then you bring in J.J. Hester. Then you bring in Bunkley Shelton. It's going to be interesting to see where they fit. Do they have the kind of experience that can come into this offense immediately, make a difference, get up 30 catches, 500 yards, 6 touchdowns or something like that? Or are they going to be guys who get, finish the season with 6 catches and 47 yards and, kind of mop up time? I can't wait to see how that shakes out.
Yeah, it should be interesting. And also, Josh, don't forget, Hazelwood left via the portal as well. So you lost 3 guys.
Oh, yeah. So long ago.
Yeah, I know. And so it's one of those things that, okay, you lost 3 guys. You get kind of 1 back in a Theo Weiss of a guy who was unavailable last year, right, just due to injury. Then you bring in 2 additions. And you mentioned that, Hoove, as far as how they're going to be used. The other thing is, what's the one thing we know that Lebby wants in this offense? It's the go, speed. Well, you know what you can't do if you're clocking it every single snap is you can't shuffle guys in and out, because what is any intelligent defense going to do? They're going to stand over the football, have one guy walk off, jog back in. All of a sudden, you're not going fast. That defeats the whole purpose. So it'll be interesting, too, that, okay, if they go 3-3, is it you've got Mims, Weiss, and Stoops out there for the first drive, but, deep into the third quarter, it's like, okay, Mims got to come out and you got to put Farouk out there for an entire drop, because you're not subbing in and out unless there's an incompletion, stuff like that. If this offense is running efficient and fast, there isn't a ton of time for subbing. So you need a guy who not only can come in and run this play, but he's got to be able to run the whole drive's worth, right? So that's why I think it's important to have guys like Bunkley, Shelton, and Hester, who have played some college football before. You're not relying on freshmen. You're not relying on guys that haven't really played a ton to step up, so that you have no. They understand what it means that they need to be out there and be able to run the whole playbook so they can be out there for an entire possession.
And I think Lebby is going to be eager to develop those freshmen in spots. When you talk about Nick Anderson and Jaden Gibson, guys who showed in the spring game that Jaden Gibson for sure showed in that with the 95-yarder. I think Anderson was hurt a little bit, but during the spring, but you got to get those guys on the field at some point. And so if you develop a rotation of 6 receivers or maybe it's 8 receivers and you're getting everybody action, where do you slide the freshmen in? Is it just mop up duty? Is it just a play here or a play there? See what they can do. Because those guys are good. Those guys are going to have to play at some point. So I can't wait to see how it all comes together, man. You talk about the coaching staff. If we're excited about this receiver core and seeing what everybody's capable of, imagine what the receiver coach and the offensive coordinator and the tight ends coach is looking forward to.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what. I mean, we talk about obviously Portal Moser with the basketball team, and I don't know a catchy nickname for Brent and Lebby, but they've done a really nice job this offseason. Lots of guys that I'm excited to see on the offensive line, on with Daniel Parker in the tight end room, receivers. They've done a lot to kind of replenish, an offense that lost a lot. And, after Lincoln left and to the draft and what have you. So it's going to be interesting, like Hoof said, to just see how it all fits together. They seemingly have the bodies in that receivers room now. It's just a matter of who gets the lion's share of the snaps and how much they rotate and all that.
I know we cover these guys and we cover the news when it happens and the transfer portal when it happens and all that. I get it. So we're knee deep in it, so to speak. But I keep seeing these top 5 lists and top 10 lists, who did the best in the transfer portal. And sure, there's some who stand out. USC obviously had probably the biggest haul. Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin had a huge haul. I get that. But Oklahoma got 3- and 4-year starters at Division I Power 5 schools to fill immediate positions of need. I'm not getting – I guess I'm not finding out why Oklahoma's not on any of these top 5 or top 10 lists for best transfer portal acquisitions.
I put very little stock in those because they're not – I don't think national writers are able to keep up with all the teams. I mean, I saw the other day it was a post-spring rankings, I think, that had Oklahoma like 14. On their key additions, they didn't even have Jeffrey Johnson on there, who's – maybe going to be the best transfer portal pickup they had outside of probably Gabriel. And he wasn't even lit. They had Matauer, all these guys listed on key additions. Jeffrey Johnson, nowhere to be found. It's like, that's one of the best ones. I mean, I just don't know how aware everybody is. I'm with you, Hoof. I mean, Oklahoma's had a great offseason in the portal. I
agree.
Yeah. Well,
so there you have it. Yeah.
I just don't understand how, like, I saw a list the other day that was like top returning quarterbacks and Gabriel's in the top 5. So when you're putting together those transfer portal lists, like if you're adding one of the top 5 returning quarterbacks, how are you not just immediately like hot shot it up? Especially the way that we do these lists, right? Like it's hey, what's the biggest names that we'll see every down? Quarterback, Gabriel, check.
Oh my God. You guys saw, I'm sure that, I think who might have been when you were in Maine, but that I think it was an On3 list of the top 10 transfer quarterbacks, and Gabriel wasn't on it.
I did see that.
What are we doing? How is he not even on it in the top 10?
He's the guy that's got more career active passing yards and touchdowns than anybody currently, and he's not in the top 10.
I believe it. Yeah, I mean, I believe it. 70 touchdowns or whatever it is. It's insane. I mean, he's below, not trying to disrespect guys, but he's below JT Daniels and these guys. Like, what are we talking about? Like, it really is just, sometimes it's head scratching.
he's below a guy that's transferred twice and been a backup for 3 years, and other guys that haven't even played yet. I'm just like, I guess maybe I'm too close to it. I can't read the fine print or something.
I guess, I don't know. It doesn't seem like this is all motivation. If I'm Oklahoma, if I'm Venables, saying, you see this? Like, nobody thinks we're going to be any good. Yeah. So, like, what's funny is that it seems like nobody thinks they're going to be any good, but then also they're still like the betting favorites to win the Big 12. It's like the things just don't add up.
Over under at 8.5, but betting
8.5 wins. Hammer the over. Hammer the over. 8.5 wins. If Brent only wins 8 games, Norman's going to be on fire. If he only wins 8 games, they're going to win more than 8 games.
I saw FanDuel today or yesterday. I saw this had Texas installed as a 1-point favorite in the Red River Shootout. Texas is a 1-point favorite.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I could say people like Texas right now. People like Quinn Ewers and their offense, Bijan and Worthy. They're kind of the trendy team.
Wow. Yep. You're forgetting shadow head coach Sean McVay in Austin. How that was a story this week of every coach ever goes and talks with all their other coaching friends in the offseason. Like, I don't understand. Why is this one the one? Shadow coach McVay wins Super Bowls and helping Texas get back finally. So there you have it. We'll get into some more. We have a lot more to talk about with the portal and recruiting news. OU had a big loss in the recruiting in their 23 recruiting class over the last week. So we'll talk about that and other stuff next, coming up here on the AllSooners Podcast.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Kerry with Trade Pros here. We've got a brand new service program coming out this year. It's the new All-Star Service Program. It's only $25 a month. The great thing about it is it's going to save you guys a ton of money throughout the year. Furnace and air conditioning repairs can be very expensive. If you guys need a service call and you're signed up with us, you're not going to have to pay that service charge. The repair is under $500. Trade Pros is going to take care of that as well. Anything over that, you guys are just going to be responsible for 25% of that. Go give us a like on Facebook. Check us out at TradeProsOKC.com or give us a call at 405-639-9991.
On Twitter, you can follow all Sooners at all_Sooners. Ryan is at Radio's Ryan. Who's at Johnny Hoover. I'm at Josh M. Callaway. Our website is allsooners.com. We are a Fan Nation affiliate, part of the Sports Illustrated Network. All right, segment 2 of All Sooners Podcast, episode 125. We'll keep the transfer portal conversation going for a little bit here, then we get into some recruiting stuff. Daryl Simpson hit the portal last night. Offensive lineman. He's a redshirt senior for the Sooners. He still has 2 years of eligibility, though, because of COVID and every other, all the other. It's hard to keep track of it, but he still has 2 years of eligibility left. I don't know. I mean, I want to choose my words carefully here because I don't want to just dump on the guy.
Sure.
But disappointing career for him, obviously. At Oklahoma. Yeah. I think that's very fair to say. He was a 4-star recruit by Rivals when he came out. 4 years in Norman. He played in 1 game, Western Carolina last year. That's it. Appeared in 1 game in 4 years after a 4-star recruit. And he's a big dude, 350, 6'8". I mean, just a big dude. Just never saw the field. I mean, almost quite literally. I mean, he played in 1 game. It was against Western Carolina in mop-up duty. So I don't really know what to make of his kind of time in Norman, but he hits the portal. A little bit of offensive line depth goes away here. It's a tiny bit. What do you guys? What's your takeaways here? This was out of left field, obviously. I mean, it's not something anybody was expecting. It just kind of happened all of a sudden.
First of all, he missed the May 1st deadline, so he's not eligible next year.
Yep.
Unless he goes FCS or Division II, right? No, I guess he's a grad, so he is eligible. What am I saying? He's a senior. If he's graduated, then he is eligible. So, it's just he's one of those guys. This is one of those names that every spring and every preseason you pour over the offensive line and you look at who they've got, who the returning starters are, who's coming back, and who's coming in, and you see Daryl Simpson's name right there. It's like, oh yeah, no, I forgot about Daryl Simpson. He was a real high recruit, 4-star recruit out of Justin, Texas, right? He'll be up there this year. Surely you expect a guy to progress as he goes through his career and finally make his way to the top of the depth chart. That never happened for him. So, for whatever reason, for one reason or another, Bill Bedenbaugh was never able to elevate him, whether it was performance or anything else, was never able to elevate him to the depth chart. So It's too bad because I thought when they signed him, you look at it and you see 6'8", 3. Boy, he's going to be another Orlando Brown. He's going to be one of those big bad dudes that comes in 3-year starter, All-American, goes to the NFL. Nope, didn't happen. So it's just weird sometimes how these things shake out for guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like the weird thing about it is whether, grad transfer or not, what has changed in the last 24 days that made you not even, have to worry about the May 1st deadline versus now? Frankly, to me, that's always kind of like the more interesting part of this stuff. Doesn't really equate to anything on the field, X's and O's, anything like that. But it's just like, was it as simple as went through the exit interviews, then got done with finals and spent some time at home and talked to the family? Like, it's always just interesting, like, what's changed for you over the last 20-ish days that this was suddenly something you want to do instead of just right after spring ball, kind of when that's when the huge wave of post-spring portal entries happens.
Yeah, and the winter workouts, too, are part of that equation. The season's over. You haven't played in your career, and you go through one more winter workout just to see where you stand, see if you can make a depth chart run, climb up the depth chart, get some playing time. He wanted to play, he wanted to do it, but clearly it just didn't happen for him. So you're right, Ryan. What changed? I think at some point, like you said, the exit interviews, Venables, we're going to start seeing. Especially consider, guys, the NCAA relaxed its rules on the number of initial counters you can bring in a recruiting class. It used to be 25. I think, is it for 2 years? They've relaxed it for 2 years. You can go up to 40. So literally half of your 85 scholarship limit, almost half, can come in one class. And so if you're going to do that, you're going to start separating the wheat from the chaff, so to speak. You're going to start trimming the fat, so to speak. I hate to use cliches and aphorisms when you talk about other human beings, but that's just a simple way to sum up the way these coaches are approaching roster management in the post-COVID NIL transfer portal era.
Yeah, so an OU career closes there. Kind of a weird one, like who said, just kind of he was pretty highly touted recruit, and like I said, big dude. You just anytime you see an lineman 6'8" through 50, you're thinking like, there's got to be a way to use him. There's got to be, and it just never happened. So good luck to him. Hopefully he gets a shot somewhere where he can see the field, and who knows? I mean, you never know, guys. Sometimes they just need the opportunity. Some guys, it's like they don't wow you in practice, but then they actually get on the field and they make it happen. He never got on the field to really even show anything. I mean, he, like I said, appeared in one game. So maybe he gets a shot and he runs with it. So we'll see what happens wherever he winds up next season. And like who said, he will be, he's a graduate, so I just did the same thing. He should be eligible next season. So we'll see where he winds up and if he can carve out a role for himself, wherever that may be. Other transfer portal stuff where we get some recruiting. Cody Jackson to Houston. Kind of interesting move for him. There was some speculation about USC. He visited out there. It was going to be like, oh, wow, the USC offense is going to be Caleb Williams throwing passes to Mario Williams and Cody Jackson. Go figure. But it didn't happen. Cody Jackson goes to Houston, joins Dana Holgorsen. He leaves the Big 12 for now, but he'll be back in the Big 12 in a year or two. What do we think of this move for him? Obviously Dana Holgorsen's a good offensive coach. I don't know what I'm not going to act like to know Houston's roster well enough to say like he's their number one right away or anything like that. But this seems like a pretty good move. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, he's from Richmond, Texas. Remember CeeDee Lamb's hometown. So, it kind of fits for him family-wise, geographically, all that stuff. Houston coming into the Big 12, it fits for him in terms of Power 5, being on a high-level program. Dana Holgorsen coached it was an unbelievable offensive coordinator and was a head coach at West Virginia. So it kind of fits for him to play for an offensive-minded coach. I mean, it's a great fit. It seems like it's a great fit. Your first reaction, if you're an OU fan, is, well, he couldn't play here, so he had to go to Houston to play. Houston's really good. And, the fact that he couldn't play at Oklahoma or looked at the roster and decided this is probably in my best interest to leave. Yeah, but Houston is up and coming. Houston has been good. Houston has a good head coach. Don't get it twisted. Houston's a great landing spot for Cody Jackson.
Yeah, I think the initial Derek King experience. Everyone was like, oh, Holgerson took a step down from West Virginia to Houston and he's having to readjust. No, like, go look at Houston, what they did the back end of last year. They turned it on, and a lot of people in the offseason are saying Cincinnati's having to replace a lot. That's a program that you can look to that not necessarily make a playoff run, but steps up and could be the Kings of the American this year. So, yeah, good move for them. And like, again, with Cody Jackson, a lot of stuff happening, not in his control, off the field stuff, not like bad or anything, just wasn't able to get onto the football field for stuff going on. So it makes sense going back home. And I know, like you said, Josh, a lot of people look at the USC visit, all that stuff. Hey, I've said this before, might not be a popular sentiment, but whether I'm going somewhere or not, got to use all those visits. I'll take a paid weekend out to LA. Roll me out to the beaches.
Yeah.
Try to wine and dine me a little bit. I'll take that any day. That would have absolutely, if I were worth anything as an athlete, I would have taken a trip somewhere to USC or UCLA and Miami, as well as the 3 serious ones, just to be like, hey, I'll take a free weekend.
You know how many coaches at Hawaii and Pepperdine get recruiting calls from people they've never heard of? Yeah, I'd like to take a visit to your school. I bet you would like to take a visit to Hawaii or Pepperdine or something like that.
If Hawaii ever gets it going, I mean, you would think that they would just have the pick of the, any West Coast player. It's like, why wouldn't you want to go play in Hawaii? If you actually, I mean, right now it's obvious why you wouldn't want to go play in Hawaii, because they're not like a churning out pros football program. But if they got to that somehow, I mean, that seems like a slam dunk as far as getting players out there.
I used to wonder why Hawaii wasn't the national champion every year. Like, they should be able to get any recruit that they want, or Pepperdine, or any school that's in something.
Well, their games are like at 1 a.m. That doesn't help.
Well, one of the reasons that college football succeeds is it has people who aren't interested in going and spending time on the beach. The people who succeed at college football are grinders and know how to sacrifice time and their own personal time and, be away from people that they want to be with. You know what I mean? It's when you think about football gym rat type of players, you don't find a lot of gym rats in necessarily moving to Hawaii to play their college sports.
No, just completely. This is why
I'd love to go on vacation there, but I don't know if I'd like to play college football there.
Yeah, no, agree completely. This is why USC has stunk and Miami has stunk and Texas has stunk. I mean, the best programs in college football right now are located in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Clemson, South Carolina. I mean, they're not metropolises by any stretch. Norman, obviously. Really good college football players want to go where they're going to have the best chance to win and develop into NFL players. The city thing is secondary. So yeah, great point. It ties into that conversation we've been having with the whole USCOU thing for months. But I don't know how we even got on to Hawaii, but this is what you get in the AllSooners podcast. There's some tangents. What are we even talking about? Cody Jackson, Houston. I don't know how we got over that.
Ryan wanting free trips to the coasts and ceviche.
There we go.
I think I saw the AllSooners podcast, Team Ceviche.
Yeah. So that was a winding road, but there you have it. So flipping over to some recruiting stuff here. So we talked about this last week on the show. Ashton Kozart, 4-star recruit, 2023 receiver. He was committed to OU for a few months. Really good kid. We got a chance to talk to him a couple times. Who did? I did. Looked to be a really key piece of that 23 class. And I thought like a guy's going to be like a leader of the program, like one of those like team captain potential type of guy. And he was scheduled to visit Oregon last week. We talked about that, what that would potentially mean. And he not only decommitted, he just flipped. He flipped right over to Oregon. No recruiting. His recruitment's not open or anything. I'm flipping. And Oregon was kind of his dream school a little bit, it sounds like. So this is a big loss, obviously, for Oklahoma. I mean, he's going to be fine. I don't want to overstate it. Like, oh my gosh, the world is ending. They've had guys flip before. They had lots of guys slip under Lincoln Riley. We talked about it a lot, last offseason. But this is a sizable blow. It is. He's a good player that they're not going to have now.
I've seen the counter argument that, he wouldn't have played here anyway. He's not that good. Oh, you couldn't have used him. I've seen that, and that's horse crap. He's got, look at his high school track. He's got sprinter speed, elite sprinter speed. He's got a big body, 6'1", 6'2", 200 will be his probably college weight. Good hands. I've seen him make catches at those 7-on-7s the normal kid doesn't make catches like that. So to me, an elite player, there's a reason Oklahoma wanted him. There's a reason TCU wanted him and Baylor wanted him. There's a reason Oregon wanted him. You got to wonder, though, and we don't have any confirmation, and I just throw this out there for conversation, right? When Brent Venables said, if you're committed, then you're not taking visits, he's had it in his mind, being from the Pacific Northwest, that he wanted to take a look at Oregon. But when he got the OU offer, he committed to OU, right? So that's the offer that he wanted, was OU, but he wanted to look at Oregon. And you got to wonder, was there a conversation between him and Venables? Hey, listen, you can take that visit all you want. Not going to be a problem. But, if you do, I'll know you're not committed to me. And, a kid or his family takes one stance and the coach takes another stance. Pretty soon conversations happen, a couple of phone calls, a couple of texts, and things get heated. We don't know what happened. We don't know what was said. We don't know what the conversation was, but you just have to wonder if there was some conversation about, if you take that visit, then you're not committed.
Yeah.
Frankly, I mean, for this reason, Cozart flipping immediately is like the least interesting outcome, because this was the first test, right? Of you're committed to us, you don't take other visits. So what was there going to be a need of a public, like, hey, you're not committed to Oklahoma right now? Or was it a private, like, you can say whatever you want, but we don't view you as a commitment? Was there going to be along down the line, if OU had stayed in that battle and won it? Do you need to reaffirm it? Like, does Brent care about any of that? Is it just what national letters of intent he gets on signing? You know what I mean? That would have been, from our perspective, the most interesting. How is this actually handled? In the end, this was the tidiest way. If he just flips and he's an Oregon commit now, and then you see, I don't think it's a coincidence. Josh, you mentioned Owasso a little bit earlier. Cole Adams, the star there, gets his Oklahoma offer, another wide receiver that a lot of people in state have been pounding the table about. So from our perspective of trying to, it's a new staff, feel out how this is all going to look like and all that stuff, this was honestly the least interesting outcome, because it was so cut and dry. Takes the visit to Oregon. He's an Oregon commit. We can move on and not worry about Ashton Cozart from an OU perspective anymore.
Makes you wonder too. Sometimes coaches pull offers. If a recruit, and Venables talked about this, you go out there and you get in trouble. If you've got an offer, you go out there and you don't take care of your business. You fail a class, or you get in trouble, or you act this way, or you talk back to your teacher, whatever it is. Maybe Ashton Cozart, and just wanting to take this Oregon visit, just crossed Venables the wrong way. And maybe I'm just saying, maybe, we don't know, but maybe there was a situation where there was an offer that was no longer extended, because it kind of goes both ways. When you commit to a school, the school commits to you. You want to go look at another school? Okay, we're pulling the offer.
Yeah, no, I mean, no telling how how exactly that all came to be. It kind of came together quickly. It seemed like, I mean, he was rock solid OU, not that long ago. And this report came, he's going to visit. We speculated, is he going to decommit then? And then not only did he decommit, he just flipped. So
he also tweeted, remember, or was it Instagram, one of the social media, he came out and said, this stuff ain't even true. When there was rumors about him scheduling a visit, he said something like along the lines of all this noise ain't even true, or whatever it was. My career advice for people that do stuff like that: don't do stuff like that. Don't throw something out on social media and then come out a couple days later and do exactly the opposite.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's a weird one to me. Because the report was completely accurate, and the speculation that he was going to flip was completely warranted. That's what he did. So it was strange from that perspective. So I don't know. I mean, we don't know the full story. Obviously, we don't know how all that stuff went down. But
Cole Adams has got offers from everybody, though. So.
Everybody.
And Oklahoma's coming in late. So the question becomes, coming in late, can they land somebody who is wanted by Alabama and everybody else?
Yeah, no, yeah, he's been just piling up offers, and it has always been like, where's that OU offer? It's always weird when those in-state kids are just like racking up the offers, and OU is conspicuously absent. But they finally did offer him. We'll see if they can make a late push and get him. Obviously, those Oklahoma kids, those Tulsa kids, OU fans really hate not getting those. So we'll see how that shakes out.
But there's the most pressure in Oklahoma, right? Like if you send the offer out, you have to have a spot for them, because you cannot send out the offer and then be like, well, we actually loaded up on 4 of the wide receivers. We just kind of gave you the offer. Alabama could do that. if Alabama processes a kid in Oklahoma, they're like, cool, when's the next time Alabama's going to be in Oklahoma recruiting a kid? Another cycle or two down the road? We've seen it. You can't be the program that is in these high schools, coming and making all these visits. And then when they have a premier guy, you'd be like, well, we had 4 other wide receivers we like better, whether that's right or wrong. Like there is more pressure on Oklahoma with the in-state kids. You have to be able to take those kids when you send out that offer, which is why that comes in late. Now, should it have been this late? No, but it is more complicated for Oklahoma than just like Oregon or Florida or Alabama to come in and just kind of drop some offers in state.
Yeah, very good point. Very good point. So sticking with OU and Oregon recruiting battles here, Tyler Turner, 3-star safety from San Antonio, Texas, where home of the Alamo Bowl, as we very well know. He announced his top 2 the other day, Oklahoma and Oregon. So there you go. So these 2 schools are battling again. Venables versus Lanning here for a safety. Yeah, I mean, I don't know a ton about Tyler Turner, obviously, but he's, San Antonio, Texas product, 3-star, seems like a Brent Venables type of guy from what we've seen from him on the recruiting trail so far since he's taken over. These 2 teams make a run at him. Obviously it's 2 defensive head coaches that are in his final 2, so we'll see how this shakes out here, but they got Cozart to flip over that Oregon. Now can OU kind of not return the favor, but try to win a battle over them here. We'll find out in due time.
Yeah, you got to love Lanning versus Venables. A couple of defensive coordinators, first-time head coaches, coordinators from the Southeast who've had great success, won national championships, that kind of thing. Going their own way and making their own way as head coaches, and now they're doing head-to-head battle for recruits, half a continent apart. They both want the same players. It's awesome.
Yeah, and that's if you're like, why are you in for this guy? Whatever. And you're looking at the rankings. All you need to know, right, is that the top 2 is a Venables Lanning battle who have recruited at Georgia and Clemson, 2 of the 3 just most monstrous predator style defenses. And when you look into Turner, you look at the tape, it's everything you'd expect, right? He's got the size, he's got the speed. And if Venables is liking him at that position, you have to think that Venables likes what he sees out of his instincts when you kind of see that on tape. Because Venables is not looking for track stars, right? He's looking for guys that have the size, the speed, who also know a thing or two about playing football once they arrive on campus. If you're worried about that, I would say look at the 2 head coaches that are after him, and the re-rankings will follow here shortly as his senior season comes on.
Yeah, and to further your point, Ryan, he's got a very impressive offer list. I mean, he's got Auburn, Arkansas, Michigan State, Texas, USC, Texas Tech. I mean, lots of legitimate Power 5 programs that offered him. He basically has the entire state of Texas offered him. So he's got a lot of big schools chasing him. And then, I mean, if Lanning and Venables both want him, that should tell you all you really need to know as far as what they see in him as far as an upside perspective. So we'll see how that shakes out here in his recruiting cycle, his recruiting process here over the next several months. I'm not sure when you can expect a timeline for him, but obviously he's in the top 2. He's getting close. He's getting close at the very least. One last little bit of housekeeping for football before we move into basketball, softball, and baseball in the final segment. Parnell Motley, guy just keeps bouncing around. He's hanging on. And my God, the Browns have a lot of OU guys. So Parnell signed with the Browns last week. I mean, what can you say? They are loaded with OU dudes after the draft and bringing in Parnell. Still Baker's on the team for now. I don't know what's happening with that, but shout out Parnell Motley getting another shot here in the NFL. He had a really, really, really bad break when he didn't get invited to the combine, which was crazy. Coming out of college. So he went undrafted because he didn't go to the combine. It's like impossible to get drafted if you don't go to the combine. And he's kind of bounced around a little bit. He just, we'll see if he can latch on somewhere. Maybe the Browns are that spot.
It's been interesting to watch his career arc. I think he had some moments, was it last year or year before with the Denver Broncos, where he broke into the starting lineup late in the season?
He played with the Lions a little bit last year. He's with the Broncos.
Okay. So Detroit the year before then. But but just, he had a lot working under Mike Stoops. He had a lot of bumpy road early in his career. And then his senior year, all you had to do was look at Pro Football Focus. I think it was Pro Football Focus who said he was the highest rated cornerback and catches per attempt or something like that. He had the best percentage and the highest number of PBUs or plays on a ball or whatever it was. It was like, where did that come from? So he really figured it out that final season, and then that's why he's been in the NFL, because he's been a guy that understands how to play the position, and not overly gifted in any particular area, but he understands now after what he went through at Oklahoma, for sure, early in his career especially. He understands the position, and that's what NFL teams like.
Yeah, and for him to keep, having stops along the way, it shows you that he's willing to put in that work, and that coaches have no problem keeping him around until they have to, make a roster spot inevitably along the way. So it'll be interesting to see. Like you said, Josh, a ton of investment on what'll be, not from an Oklahoma perspective, from a Cleveland perspective, fringe guys. A ton of investment on fringe guys from the Oklahoma defense. It used to be the Ravens that were willing to stand up on a table for Oklahoma guys. Now it's Cleveland, except for
they traded Hollywood,
the most important guy. So wild.
Yeah. Ravens traded Hollywood and officially passed that torch, I guess, to the Browns. But yeah, Parnell, he played 2 games for the Bucs in 2020, was waived, picked up by the 49ers. Then the Broncos signed him off the practice squad. He played 2 games with the Broncos. Then last year, after he got released by the Broncos, he was with the Lions all year on their practice squad. He played in 1 game. So this is already his 5th team. But, man, these guys that just battle and keep trying, I have a lot of respect for it. I do. It's hard. You keep moving cities. It'd be so hard to, you'd be so easy to want to just kind of give up, and he just keeps on battling, keeps on trying. So
I remember
him. We'll see if he can crack into the lineup there.
I remember when he was prepping for the draft and the combine, and everybody was mad that he didn't get invited and all that stuff. And
yeah,
it was probably like 10-1, the ratio of OU fans who came out and said, well, why would they invite him to the combine? He's terrible. No, he had an unbelievable senior year. I can't remember the number of interceptions. Was it 4 picks? Anyway, game-saving interception.
In 2019. First team All Big 12.
So he had a great year, and it's like it was planted in their head early on. I'm talking from the fan base here, planted in their head. Well, this guy can't play. This guy can't play dead to Bimu. He's terrible. No, you get better in your career, and you keep playing. You keep at it. You keep working, and he did. He's a perfect example of that. By the time he was a senior, he was really good, and I think so many people are just not willing to accept the fact that somebody got good after being bad in their career.
5th in OU history in pass breakups.
That's really good.
33 career pass breakups.
Think about that. I know that's a lot more opportunities now than back in the 80s and whatnot, but think about that. Think about some of those names that have played defensive back in the NFL for 10 years or more, made Pro Bowls, and he's 5th? That's incredible.
Yeah, it is. It really is. So we'll see if he can latch on there with the Browns. Good luck to him in that.
Real quick, Josh.
Cleveland just keeps on adding you guys.
Something I forgot to toss to the rundown. You mentioned timelines. Just real quick, so you can look alive. July 8th, circle that on your calendars. Caden Green, big offensive line recruit, Oklahoma heavily involved with. He's announcing on July 8th. And to continue our bit of professional advice in the NIL era, Friday night, not a good night to announce a commitment. Pick a Wednesday morning, pick a Tuesday morning, something where people aren't out and about and all around. That is when you should be committing, not Friday nights, but at least it's not the 4th.
Do yourself a favor and don't alienate yourself with every sports writer who's getting ready to cover you, and do it on July 4th. Don't do it on July 4th.
Sick of that.
Everybody in Oklahoma hated Kevin Durant because he left, but all the sports writers hated him because he left on July 4th. Same with Caleb Williams. Is like, really, dude? You're taking my entire July 4th?
How many guys committed on July 4th last year? It was like 4 or 5.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, it's become a thing, and I need it to not be a thing anymore.
July 4th is not about you. It's about America.
Maybe with Brent Venables' new, we're not pushing. The later commitments will push us beyond the July 4th win. We'll get the guys right after the barbecue in June, and then everyone else is in August or like deep into the season. I'd prefer that.
I'm down.
Yeah, no kidding. July 8th, that feels like just a world away. We're going to need to remind ourselves a few times on that one. That's 6 weeks out. But that's an eternity in OU beat time. So we'll keep an eye on that one, certainly when the time comes in over a month. All right, we'll take a time out here. We'll come back. Other sports to get to. Portal Moser struck again. We'll talk about that next. And, of course, softball got the job done. They're on to Supers, Big 12 baseball tournament. Lots of other stuff to get to next on the AllSooners podcast.
Hey guys, John Hoover for Trade Pros. Listen, they got something special going on at Trade Pros. It's the All-Star Service Agreement. Sign up now for just $25 a month, and the guys at Trade Pros will come out twice a year for routine maintenance. Plus, you get up to 2 pounds of Freon every year at no charge. And get this, if your heating or air unit needs work, it's not going to cost you anything if the repair is less than $500. And if it's more than $500, your cost comes in at just 25% of the Trade Pros price. It's the All-Star Service Program. Some conditions apply, so give the guys at Trade Pros a call, 405-639-9991, or hit them up on the website, tradeprosokc.com.
Final segment of the AllSooners podcast, episode 125. Get through some other sports here, and we'll send you on your merry way into your Memorial Day weekend. Here right at the end of May, lots of sports, lots of softball and baseball for people to take in. OU teams doing their thing. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Let's talk about some basketball first, though. Another transfer pickup last night. Grant Sherfield from Nevada transfers to OU. This name has been like rumors OU forever. I mean, like a month and a half, maybe even 2 months. I mean, it has been like going back to the end of the season practically. He's been linked to be an OU guy. It just was never official. Kept waiting for it to is it ever going to get announced? Is it ever going to be made? And it finally happened yesterday. Mr. Sherfield comes over from Nevada. This is a good player. 19.1 points per game last year, 6.4 assists. He can shoot it. He can pass it. And pairing with George Washington, Joe Bamaseal in the backcourt, looks like Porter Moser did a pretty nice job after losing Goldwire and Gibson, replacing two really solid guards to kind of replace those two guys. This seems like a pretty nice get to me, Mr. Sherfield. I'm excited to see what he looks like in an OU uniform next year.
And now we know why Porter was in such a good mood last night in Wichita. Yeah. He knew this was coming down the pike, I'm sure.
From Wichita, too. A little serendipity there. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And Porter actually talked real quick about being in Wichita. He said, most times that I've come to Wichita in the Valley, you guys have been booing me, so it's nice to be here and you're cheering for me. That was funny. But Sherfield, it's got to be refreshing to lose guys to UNLV and then get other guys from Reno, Nevada, right? I mean, there's got to be some kind of synergy going on there where you lose one to Nevada and you pick another one up from Nevada. So the state of Nevada, I mean. No, it sounds like this kid can play. I haven't seen film on him or watched him play in the college basketball last couple of years, but 19 points a game. If you're Oklahoma and you're losing Emoja Gibson, which we'll talk about in just a second, you need somebody that can come in and fill it up at 19 points a game. So this is a huge, huge pickup for OU.
Yeah, so that'll be the question mark, Rye, as far as Porter Moser talked about it last year, that guys coming from a non-Power 5 taking that step up, all their stats take a dip, right? So you're going to have to factor that in. How's that adjustment going to be made? So that's the negative when you lose a guy like Harkless and a guy like Gibson, then you're replacing them with guys that came from non-Power 5. The positive is, I've kind of talked about this a little bit, but if any of you are athletic subscribers, in the middle of the year, they do things like, anonymous coaches just kind of dish on the rest of the conference. And when it came to Oklahoma, the knock on them was like, they've got guys that can play basketball, but they're by far the least athletic team in the league. And that there was a question, not just that an anonymous assistant was like, I wonder if Porter is going to have to adjust to that this offseason. Sherfield and Bamaseal are athletic upgrades when you just talk about holistically those two guys. when you just are comparing them immediately to the guys they'll replace in Harkless and Gibson. So question marks still about, making that upgrade to Big 12 play. We know what this Big 12 conference is, but at least athletically, it's people you'll be happy with.
Yeah, Sherfield looks like a pretty fun get. He can shoot it. Good free throw shooter, like Ryan said, athletic. And this is his second transfer. He actually was a Wichita State guy originally, then went to Nevada. So this is his second transfer. He might have graduated early. I honestly don't know. I haven't been able to figure that out if he's automatically eligible as a grad transfer because he graduated a year early, or if he needs a waiver just like Bamseal does. We'll wait and see how that shakes out. I would assume he'll get one if he needs one, though. I would expect Bamseal and Sherfield to be, guys on the team next year. So we'll see how that shakes out. But it's going to be fun. And, you pair those two guys with the incoming freshman. There's a lot to be interested in, I think, with this OU team. Porter Moser they're going to be a kind of a hodgepodge group again, but a fun one. I think it's reasonable, in my opinion, to think that they will be better next year. I think that's reasonable to think. With these two guys, the freshmen coming in who are all exciting. Benny Schroeder, by the way, tearing it up in Germany. I don't know if you guys have kept up with that at all, but he's beasting over there. And then Owa and Uzan and Northweather, and there's a lot to be excited about, I think, with this group. So we'll see how that shakes out. It's going to be a fun team next year.
Another Porterism from last night. He said the kid from Germany, one reason he recruited him is you don't have to worry about NIL. And then he said, "Oh, I'm just joking. Did I say that? Did I say that out loud?"
Yeah, he's already he won MVP of whatever league he plays in over there. He's good. He's good. He's good. So we'll see how that what he looks like. I'm excited. They're gonna be a fun team next year. I do believe that. So sticking with basketball, like Hoove teased there, Moshe Gibson, guys, I have no clue how this happened. He transferred to DePaul. That is not a step up from OU in any way. This was a weird deal. Porter Moser comments that he said back at the Tulsa Caravan certainly implied that he thought Moshe Gibson was coming back to OU and that he was a little surprised by it. And then there was that list of teams that were interested in Moshe Gibson. It was like, that list is not anything, it was a lot of lateral moves at best. And now he announces that he's going to DePaul. I'm not going to act like I know all the ins and outs of everything, but it just seems to me a guy who is going to be an absolute starter year 3 at OU, year 2 under Moser, one of the go-to guys on the team. How is that not a better situation than being the new guy at DePaul? It's a head scratcher to me. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it's a head scratcher. Okay, so older guys like myself will look at DePaul, hear DePaul, right? Oh, he's transferring to DePaul. Wow, that's okay. So DePaul has a name, and they don't have much else. You go back to DePaul basketball. Just lay this out for you real quick. Ray Meyer was there forever, won 1 million games, was a 20-win guy, 25-win guy every year it seemed. Then his son Joey Meyer comes in, and he's a 20-win guy, and he was there for about a decade. That was it. That's the last bit of success that they had. I looked it up, guys. They've had 1 winning season since 2007. They've had 1 season of 25 wins. 1 season of 25 wins since 1987. DePaul stinks. DePaul is a terrible basketball program, or has become a terrible basketball program. So I'm with you, Josh. I'm just like, you're leaving Oklahoma. You're leaving the Big 12, the best basketball conference in the country, right? And you're leaving a team that you've been the leading scorer on. I mean, I'm not knocking Umoja for the decision. There's a decision there, and we don't know what it is. But like you said, it's a head scratcher. Does he have family in Chicago that he just wanted to go spend some time in Chicago with his family and use that as a jumping off point to professional basketball? I got one of these. Palms to the air, shoulders up. I don't know.
Enter the portal at your own risk, my friends. Just because you think you're going to land in a spot with gators abound in a swamp doesn't mean that spot is there for you in the end. I guess spin zone, he'll get to play point guard at DePaul. That's what he needs to do to have some pro aspirations. Just hard to imagine that he wouldn't have also played point guard here at Oklahoma, seeing as he was deployed as the backup point guard over Bijan Cortez down the stretch once Bijan kind of came back from his little absence. And then the cramping became even more of a thing with Goldwire down the stretch because they were having to play him for almost 40 minutes. Like, Emoji Gibson was the backup point guard. Hard to believe that if he hadn't gone to Porter Moser and said, the pro scouts are telling me to play point guard, that Porter wouldn't have said, awesome, you're going to play some point guard here. You're our experienced ball handler.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would have thought that going pro would make more sense than playing a year at DePaul. But yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, we like we were saying, we don't know all the ins and outs of everything. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, this move makes sense for a guy like a Rick Asanza, like a Nicole Mullane, like a bench guy who just needs an opportunity. But Emoji Gibson played. I don't know for a fact, but I'm going to venture that he played more minutes last year for OU than any other guy. So he's a huge part of the team. So I don't know. Like who said, one of these. I don't know. We'll see how it shakes out next year. With the Blue Demons, they didn't draw DePaul in the Big East Big 12 challenge. That's a shame. That would have been great because I think Porter's got a little bit of resentment there. He was kind of mad about it. Sounded like in Tulsa a little bit. So yeah.
He was expecting him to come back. Caught him off guard. That was a bit of a shocker.
Yeah, so we'll see how that looks next year. But interested in that basketball team for sure in Norman. Shifting over to the Diamond Sports softball, roll through the regional like we thought they would. They made A&M just implode. Essentially, they beat them 20-0 on Sunday. It was ridiculous.
A day after they beat them 3-2, though.
That was obviously a fluke.
I was like, what?
Yeah, they got to see the pictures a second time, and my God, and 20-0 on Sunday, and A&M. I mean, they got beat so bad that they fired their coach of like 30 years, Joe Evans, who was. I feel bad for her. I feel like she got a really raw deal there. But yeah, I mean, I was there. It's the first softball games I've been at in person this season, and yeah, I mean, they looked the part. They dominated. They did what they had to do on Sunday. It was over before A&M ever got in at bat. It was 9-0 before you sat down. And that's that. They move on to the next round, doing their thing.
So I was on doing some show prep this morning, and I saw a headline at ESPN.com, and the headline said, "The surprising secrets behind the most dominant team in sports."
Yeah.
Right? And you're like, a clickbait headline, right? I got to see who they think is the most dominant team in sports. I opened it up, and of course, my first thought was, well, they must be talking about Oklahoma softball. I'm like, it's not an NFL team. It's not a college team. Alabama? No. Could it be a Premier League team? No, they're talking about Oklahoma softball. I clicked on it. Sure enough, it's Oklahoma softball. And guys, there's a reason they're so dominant. They get the best players. They get the best recruits. Yes. But Ryan, I want to take you back to the super regional, or the regional that they just played, the 2 games against Texas A&M. Patty said after winning the game 3-2, she said it was important that we saw all 3 of their pitchers. And the next day, the first pitcher that rolls out there, the one who kind of walked off under her own power,
just quit,
just walked off, said, "Screw this."
I'm done.
9-0 in the first inning. The scouting report on her was obviously swing early, get on her early, and they did that. And look what the score was. And then you could see an absolute shift when the second pitcher came in. Scouting report was completely different. Work her in the count. Take a couple of pitches from her. You could see the girl's mindset shift when that happened. It's like, this is it. This makes sense. It's coaching.
Yeah. So we've seen last year, if you followed the team at all, the more OU saw a pitcher, that was grave for that pitcher. Like the more they saw them, you were going to just get busted up because the offense was too good. You see that for the most part. And I know we're like hitting into nitpicking territory, but again, when you have a team this good, when they've only lost 2 games, what do you have to do? You have to nitpick to find storylines. Dulcini at Texas, they saw her twice and did not improve as far as this kind of production. Against Oklahoma State, Kelly Maxwell, OU's honed in. The more you saw Maxwell, the worse Maxwell fared. That didn't happen with Morgan Day. And so it's one of those things that it's almost like every time Oklahoma has not even stubbed their toe, but just had a close game, it feels self-inflicted because, guys, through the first 2 games of the regional, Jada Coleman, Jocelyn Allo, Tiare Jennings, they were 10 for 14. That includes that 3-2 game against A&M. OU was 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position in that game. Like, it should have been a bloodbath. In the first one, Oklahoma just wasn't able to convert, but you give this team a whole day to study those 3 pitchers, a whole day to hone in on exactly what they want, and you flip 3 runs into 20. It's just incredibly impressive. So the question that I'm hoping we get to ask Patty Gasso later today here on Wednesday when we get to talk to her is, how do you make sure this sustains through the rest of the tournament? Because we saw there's a small, minor, what would be perceived as a dip, game 3 against Texas. They were lights out again until then a Big 12 championship game where it dips down a little bit. How do you make sure that this is another, if it lasts, 11 games like it did after Texas, that wins you a national championship? How do you keep that ship going? Because they're about to host a UCF team that's not ready for this environment. They've never been in this environment, from the media ops all the way down to the team. They're stepping into very, very deep water, and I'm not expecting them to handle it very well this weekend, UCF.
Yeah, you that was right where I was going next. They got UCF coming in, Super Regionals, number 16 team. Ryan, obviously, you did a little preview about UCF earlier this week. You know better than anybody. Is there any worry here? I mean, it's sports. You never know. But how surprised would you be if UCF won, obviously, even one game this weekend? I mean, is it really like David Goliath situation?
It is a David Goliath situation. Like, when you look at the 2 teams that have beat OU already this season, right? Texas and OSU, first off, they're familiar with them, so they're not like afraid of them. But also, there are 2 teams that do something, maybe not elite in Texas's case, but at a very, very high level, which is pitching, right? Mike White with Texas, pitching coach. He knows how to game plan. Coming in, Dulcini, that was someone that did that. Gajewski and that OSU staff, that is an elite pitching staff, right? You look at this UCF team, there's not a single thing this team does that's elite. Batting, they're pedestrian for a top team. They're like 36th in batting average, well outside the top 50 in home runs, even stolen bases to play small ball. They're not like a top 25 team there. Pitching wise, their staff, when you look at ERA, they're 22nd, but then you kind of dig into the numbers a little bit more. Strikeout to walk ratio, they're outside the top 50. This is a contact team, and you can be a contact team when you're playing in the American. You cannot be a contact pitching staff when you're facing Jada Coleman and Jocelyn Allo and Tiare Jennings and Grace Lyons and Lindsay. Like, you can't be that kind of team. I expect this pitching staff to be in for a rude awakening because, I mean, honestly, like, yes, they've won some nice games, but you go and look, run rules by Virginia Tech, by Florida State. They needed a lot of opportunities against good teams in the non-conference to post a good RPI because they lost a lot of those games too.
It feels very different than when Washington came to Norman last year. And Washington was, seemingly underseeded, and it was like Washington, if they play their best, could make this interesting. It doesn't, if the same exact rankings, 116, but it feels very, very different this time. So we'll see how that shakes out. Final home games for Jocelyn Allo. So that's kind of the headline there. I mean, obviously she has the WCWS games, which feel like home games, but they're not. Technically at over at Marita Hines. So this will be it for that. And we'll try to punch their ticket to OKC this weekend. Weird game times. What's Friday? 3:30?
Yeah, 3:30 and then 1 on Saturday.
Yeah, 3:30 on Friday. I mean, it's 1 o'clock Saturday. It's like, okay, that's not, but 3:30 on Friday is a little funky to me. But we'll see how that goes this weekend. Ryan will have all the coverage from Marita Hines. Wrapping up with some baseball here. Big 12 baseball tournament starts this week. It's already off and running. Actually, there's already been OSU and Texas played earlier. Texas beat Oklahoma State, actually, in the opening game this morning. Oklahoma State has been just in a free fall. They're the total opposite. OU's gotten red hot. OSU has gotten cold. They might have fallen out of a regional host. But focusing on OU here, obviously, they play West Virginia tonight. They were so close to their first ever Big 12 regular season title. Improbably, they were a win away, and that's insane that they were a win away from winning the Big 12. Couldn't quite finish the deal. They still won 2 of 3 in Lubbock, which is crazy impressive, but it is disappointing to not finish off the sweep and win the Big 12. But they come into this week, the 3 seed. They got a really good draw, in my opinion. They play West Virginia tonight, who they just won 2 out of 3 against and run ruled 2 weeks ago. And then on the same side is Texas Tech, who they're 3-1 against, and K-State, who's just not any good. So pretty good draw for Oklahoma in the Big 12 tournament. They still have an outside shot at that regional host. I think they probably need to win the whole thing this week. But if they win the whole thing this week, I think they got a good shot. So they're still playing for a whole lot this week at Arlington. Going to be fun. Looking forward to getting over to the park tonight for the opener. What are you guys looking for this week with baseball as they get ready to go into the NCAA tournament next weekend?
I just have a quick question for you, Josh. We
Sure.
talked a few weeks ago about Skip Johnson's job security and the long-term projection going into the SEC. Has he saved his job this season?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%. Skip has done a fantastic job this year. He really deserves a ton of credit for especially the whipping the team together from last year to this year on the fly with the freshmen and the transfer portal guy. I mean, some of their best. I mean, Peyton Graham and Tanner Treadaway, they've been in the program for a while. But the rest of the big guys, the guys who are making this thing go, they're all freshmen and JUCO guys that they added. I mean, it's very impressive. And Jake Bennett, their best starter, his development has been nuts. He was not this a year ago, even. Skip, that's credit to Skip. Then his pitching background helping get him. So yeah, he's done a fantastic job. This has been a really, really good year for him.
Maybe you should edit that out because I misspoke. I didn't mean that like there was still a danger of him being fired this year. No, I think if they had continued down the path that they were, which is mediocre and not making the tournament, I think there's a possibility he would have been fired. I think he was coaching for his job this season, and I do think he saved it with the coaching job that he turned in 2022. Yeah. Just to clarify what I meant. I don't think he's in any danger whatsoever.
No, absolutely not. And, even he deserves a lot of credit for even within this season. I mean, they lost 2 out of 3 at home to New Orleans back in March. And, you think back to the beginning of the year, they had that rough weekend in Houston at Minute Maid Park. And it was like, it felt like it was kind of more of the same. And this year might get away from them. But ever since they had that rough weekend in Stillwater where they could have had that series win and let it get away, they've just ramped it up. They haven't lost a series since then. Think about how long ago that series was. They haven't lost a series since then. Pretty nuts. So they've had a heck of a finish their year, playing as well as anybody. And if they can get to a regional at home, watch out. Who knows what can happen in June?
Yeah, I think that kind of what you mentioned there is the most encouraging thing, right? Is that there's a ton of new faces on this team, and you can pick back through, and I know they didn't get the sweep in Lubbock, but you can pick back through, and how many times have we gone over Texas, Oklahoma State, one game against K-State, like so many of those games you're like, if you just win, that should have been a win or could have easily been a win. In the margins, you turn that around, and suddenly you look and, they're regular season champs, share that with TCU, pick up 2 of those, and all of a sudden you're outright regular season champs. To have that as well as a team of new faces, to that be the foundation again, because Oklahoma was the team in this conference screwed by the 2020 season coming to an end, right? Because they didn't get to then see that to its end, maybe go to Omaha and recruit off of that, as far as come to Norman, look at what we've got going here. So a nice reset for Skip Johnson, everybody. And now the question becomes, you move the Big 12 tournament out of the brick into Globe Life. Can they shake some of that kind of recent voodoo they've had in the brick and in the Big 12 tournament and kind of get this thing cranked up and going in a stadium that they have a ton of experience, not just playing, but winning games this year?
Absolutely. They played there 9 times already this year. So that's definitely a leg up, I would think, going into this weekend. The fact they have that little bit of familiarity. So going to be a fun week. Like I said, I think if they win the whole thing, which is hard to do, but if they win the tournament this week, they got a shot. They got a shot to host regionals, which would be a really, really big deal. So, and they've admitted as much that, that'd be huge to get regionals at home. They haven't really lied about that. Tanner Treadaway was very open about it. Skip, even this week, was open about it. Like, that'd be great. That'd be pretty good if we got it here. So, big week for that program and that team. Going to be fun to watch play out. Like you said, Ryan. Freshmen. 3 freshmen are a huge part of it. Jackson Nicholas at second base, Wallace Clark at third, and then John Sparkman in right field. Those are 3 of the guys that are making this happen, and they're all freshmen. They have a lot to be excited about, I think, in the years ahead here. So, been a good year, good finish, and we'll see what they could do in Arlington. All right, guys. I think that's it. Anything left on the table? We good?
We're good.
We'll
Caravan tomorrow.
Ryan's pet project. Shout out to women's tennis. They came up 1 match short, but made that run all the way in Champaign to a national championship That program's not going anywhere. Just picked up another huge signing from the juniors ranks. So yeah, shout out to Audra Cohen and what they've done there with the women's tennis program, taking that thing to new heights this year.
Yes, absolutely. Meant to get them in there. I just totally blanked on it. Good call by Ryan. Yeah, national runners up. Shame they couldn't quite finish it, but still an insane run for them. It was fun to follow, and I'm sure they'll be back at it. They'll be in the mix again next year, I'm sure. So as long as Cohen's running the show out there with the tennis program. So there you have it. That's it for us. OKC Caravan tomorrow. Because I care so much about all our AllSooners people, I'm driving back tomorrow for Caravan. And then I'm coming back down here on Friday, assuming baseball is still playing, which they just need to win once either today or tomorrow for that to be the case. So it's going to be a little bit of up and down for me, but fun times. Fun times ahead. Ryan's going to have Super Regionals this weekend in Norman. Hoover will be supplementing with Caravan content all throughout the week as well. And going to spring meetings next week. Lots of stuff going on. AllSooners.com is your place to be and to keep up with all of it. So you can catch next week's show. We'll recap Supers, talk about baseball in the Big 12 tournament, latest with Caravan and football, recruiting, transfer portal, all that stuff on next week's show. You can catch that one, all the shows on iTunes, Spotify, Google, iHeart, wherever you get your podcast. If you have an Amazon-enabled device, just say, Alexa, play the AllSooners podcast. Also post on our website, allsooners.com. Click on the player list on your phone, your tablet, or your computer. For Ryan Chapman and John Hoover, I'm Josh Callaway. We'll catch you guys next time.